with me, experience goes in and it goes down so deep. It's kind of like making compost in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you put in all your potato peelings
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, but by next spring, when you get the compost out of the heap, you don't know the potato peelings from the orange rinds because everything has been transformed into nice brown dirt. This is the best.
It's very.
That's all I can think of. I don't know where my stuff comes from, and people always ask, where do you get your ideas, you know, and so on. And I have absolutely no answer to that because they come out of me. Obviously, they came into me at some point, but I don't recognize them.
When you hear the name Ursula, many of you might think of the Disney villain from the Little Mermaid movies, who has certainly had an impact on many people's lives. But another Ursula who has had an impact not only on individual people's lives, but also on society and the world of literature at large, is Ursula K. Le Guin, known mostly for her speculative fiction, including the Earthsea series and novels like The Left Hand of Darkness and The Dispossessed. Born in 1929 to an anthropologist's father and a writer mother, Ursula started writing stories, as she states it, as soon as she learned how to write. Her career spanned more than 60 years and her body of work amounts to 23 novels, 12 volumes of short stories, 11 volumes of poetry, 13 children's books, 5 essay collections, and 4 works of translation, earning her some of the most prestigious prizes and accolades in the literary world. In this series, I try to uncover what makes writers tick, turning to their daily routines to do exactly that, and I thought Ursula K. Le Guin would make a great next case study. An excerpt from a book called Ursula K. Le Guin, The Last Interview and Other Conversations, detailing Le Guin's daily schedule, went viral on Twitter a few years ago and has been called an ideal writing schedule, most likely due to its simplicity and the fact that she didn't spend an unrealistic part of her day writing. She would wake at 5:30 in the morning and reportedly lie there and think. At 6:15 she got up and made breakfast. By 7:15 she would get to work writing. At noon she would break for lunch. Between the hours of 1 and 3 p.m. she would spend her time reading or listening to music. From 3 to 5 she would write letters or do household chores. Between 5 and 8 she made and ate dinner. And after 8 she has said, "I tend to be very stupid and we won't talk about this." But her bedtime was usually around 10 p.m., which only leaves around 2 hours for being stupid.
I wrote a book back in the 60s called Left-Handed Darkness, where I was first asking myself, you know, well, okay, what is the difference between men and women? And the means I used to talk about it was to invent a race of people who are androgynous, fully androgynous. You only become sexually active once a month, and you may become active as a man or as a woman. You don't know which. So that everybody is part of the time non-sexual and part of the time either a man or a woman. So then when no one is a man and no one is a woman permanently, what's left?
Ursula's routine was really, really fun to follow. I found it really interesting. I must admit, getting up at 5:30 in the morning was not necessarily my favorite thing to do. I usually don't get up that early. I usually get up at around 6 o'clock, so it's not like I was getting up a lot earlier than normal. But that extra half an hour of sleep does make a difference sometimes. Especially when you didn't go to bed really early the night before. But I really enjoyed following her routine. It was very nice to finally have some time again to write, or to basically force myself to write. I felt I was really productive. I wrote a lot, and the only thing that I will say is that just when I felt like I was starting to get into the groove of writing, it was noon and I was having lunch, which was fine because I was hungry, because she eats really early in the morning. But I felt like after lunch I wanted to get back into writing, but I had to read instead. I suppose if she was really in the groove of writing something, she might have actually continued writing after lunch. But also probably because she wrote every single day, she maybe would have felt better about reading in the afternoons, or listening to music, or doing something else other than writing, because she knew that the next day she would go back to writing. She could continue her train of thought. But for me, as someone who doesn't write that frequently, and certainly doesn't write every day, it felt like I was just motorcycle passing by. It felt like I was just getting into the groove of things, and then I already sort of had to stop. But that's fine. At least I'm inspired again to continue writing my story. Sometimes it just takes sitting down and actually writing to get you inspired to write. I feel like I say this at the end of every single writer's routine video that I've made, that I'm like, wow, these writers, they probably didn't have that much inspiration, but when they sat down and started writing, that's when the inspiration came. Another motorcycle passing by. I feel like it's the same motorcycle passing by, just going that way and then coming back. Anyway, so I had a lot of fun filming this routine. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I tried to do it a little bit differently this time. I tried to make it a little bit more cinematic. I don't know if it really worked. Let me know if you enjoyed this. If you're a fan of Ursula's, let me know. If you found this routine interesting, if you've read any of her books, please recommend some to me that I should read, because I haven't read any of her work, but I really want to. If you enjoyed this video, you can give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more bookish content from me in the future, you can subscribe. I make new videos almost every week. I'm trying to do it weekly, but sometimes life happens and I don't. But I'm trying to get better, and I'm trying to stay consistent. So if you want to see more bookish content, more famous writers' daily routines, I have a playlist which I will link up here for you. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next week with another video. Bye.